Let's make noise for LYNN Forbes, AKA's mother.
This video came from a different angle, and it was just something I didn't expect to see watching the Madlanga Commission.
And how did you feel seeing it?
No, I literally screamed. I was in tears. It was very traumatizing, and I was wondering, I wish they could have just said, actually we're going to show the AK murder, because then I probably wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah.
The one thing I can tell you for free right now is that this thing of grief has stages. I don't believe in that, because grief for me is an up and down thing.
South Africa is a beautiful country,
Yeah.
but just that, the violence part, the crime part.
Yeah. So Beverly was saying this to me, Warris's mom, when I phoned her. Everything she's saying is what I experienced on the day Kenan died, because the only thing I wanted to do is to get to him. And it doesn't matter how old they are. I tell you that you just want to get there. But I know that I am completely not the same person, and I will never be ever again the same person. It's like a piece of me is just gone. When Kenan died, Casper, came to see
To
us.
the house, yeah.
Casper came to see us. He brought his condolences, all of that. But are you going to see me now on the socials having selfies with Casper, and now all of a sudden Casper and I are doing a thing together? No.
It's not look
Sorry,
weird.
Casper.
Yeah.
No, but do you understand that? I could be right here, right now, and we can laugh and all of this. But even when you are really happy, there's always that something hovering inside of you, and that's that loss.
Are you hopeful that we're going to see justice, as far as the case?
I actually listened to Nadia's when she was here, and she talked about the day when she called me on Kenan's birthday. She spoke to you about how she was in tears. Well, you should have called me 2 days later, because then I was on the carpet with my face in the, on the floor crying.
This is what we're here for. It's the L-Tido podcast.
Joe. Which are weird.
Why am I the host?
I'm gonna dare myself, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross.
Let's go.
Yo, quick one before we get into this episode. Johnny Walker just launched the Afro Exchange Creative Summit, and this one is different. Not your usual brand event. This is real creative summit. Hundreds of Africa's sharpest minds in music, fashion, art, all in one room, actually building together. And here what stands out. Johnny Walker didn't just sponsor the vibe, they built a platform and funded it while creatives lead the work. And here is the vision. Africa writes the source code. The world picks up the signal. We already been exporting music, fashion, art, food, you name it. This isn't just a moment, it's a movement. So if you're creative or trying to get into rooms where the real world connections happen, keep your eyes open on the Johnny Walker Afro Exchange. Drop a comment with your creative inspiration and hit the link in the description to learn more. And remember, enjoy responsibly.
Bienvenue pour un nouvel épisode du L-Tido podcast avec une invitée spéciale, LYNN Forbes. Let's go!
Yeah!
That was a
All right, y'all. Today we have a very special guest. Her son was actually the very first guest of this podcast. So let's clap it up one time. She's a very sweet lady. She raised a king. She's sweet, gracious, smart, funny. Damn, I'm just giving her props today. Let's see if
Beautiful.
let's see if we can keep it going. Let's make noise for LYNN Forbes, AKA's mother.
You said it wrong. It's not AK's mother, AK's mom.
Oh, AKA's mom. So this was a topic before we even started shooting, because she was like, other people call her AKA's mom. And before, she was not okay with being labeled that, but now you love it.
I
right?
said I used to really don't like it that they call me AK's mom, because I was like, I will have my own identity. But now I love being called AK's mom.
Okay.
You see, I mean, obviously I love being AK's mom now.
How are you, Auntie LYNN?
I'm good.
You good?
No,
I think before we
I'm
start-
a little bit scared though.
Why are you scared?
Because, I've been watching your podcast, and I feel like every time somebody's here, like especially the people I love, like Nandi and Nadia.
Mhm.
The next day,
What happened?
people are roasting them out there on the socials. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
So what
tomorrow.
what do you think it is? The podcast or the people that come here?
It's the questions you ask them.
What? It's the questions that I ask.
It's the questions you ask them. So tomorrow
Okay.
now, Nadia now,
Okay.
say like something about Kenan being a
Let's actually discuss that. Let's actually discuss it. Me and you spoke about it in private,
Yes.
but I think people maybe don't know what your views are.
Nadia and I had a good laugh.
Nadia came
Nadia
in.
and I had a good laugh. That's
Yeah.
all I can tell you. We
guys had a good
no,
laugh?
I mean, come on. You know what is the difference? When you
Mhm.
know someone,
Mhm.
I mean, I know Nads and we love each other and we see each other and I know where she is in her head and what's her mindset and I know her as a person.
Mhm.
When you know somebody as a person, you're not going to take offense to something like that. But I think people, when you don't know somebody,
They might take offense.
yeah.
So
No. What I'm saying is I can understand why people kind of had a problem with her calling, what did she say?
a ghost.
Mm. But
Yeah.
me, I know Nadia. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, Kai, don't worry about it. It's fine. They
Mhm.
don't understand you.
So with all that said, why were you brave
That's
enough?
funny, guys.
Why were you brave enough to give me a call and said, "Hey Tito, I think I'm ready to come to the podcast"? Why were you brave enough?
Because,
yeah.
because I was thinking there's stuff that has to be said.
Mm,
It's not brave, it's actually courageous.
Courageous.
It's very different. Brave, it's the same thing, but courageous.
I like courageous better than brave. But
No, I
before
thought it was time. I thought it was
Yeah.
time to clear up a couple of things.
okay, before we start though,
Mm.
there's so many things that we have to address,
Mm.
right? Elephant in the room. There's people that text me, that send me messages on social media saying, "Tito, you need to pay AKA's mom the money that you owe her." You've been going around saying, "Hey, L-Tido owes me money," and now that we're on my platform, I feel it's a good time to defend myself, to address this finally. Why have you been telling people that I owe you money?
But I think you and I buried the beef, right?
Yes, we
had
buried the
We
beef.
had beef,
We had
but
beef.
we don't have beef anymore. You see, I know the terms, I know the words. So, okay, Tito, where's the camera? Okay, so Tito and I had beef.
Okay.
Where can I tell the people?
No,
Okay.
anyway.
Okay.
Yes.
We had beef
Okay.
because there was a time long donkey years back
Yes.
when Kenan was driving my Toyota Bucky,
Okay.
my 4x4 Hilux.
Yes.
And then one night, I don't know what the beef was with them, and then one night they were at a club or something,
Mhm.
but it got rough and they smashed my Bucky. Was it you or other people? I still don't know the details. But anyway, Kenan came home
Mhm.
and he didn't tell me. And then at some point he was like, Mom, the car, the Toyota Bucky that you rap so about. And then even now when I see you, I will always remind him he owes me money. So he must take my bank account details and pay for the damages of that car. That car is now long gone, but I still need the money.
Okay.
But no, it's fine. We buried our beef.
We buried our beef.
Is that how you say it? You buried your beef? You
Yes.
said, okay, cool.
Okay.
I'm trying to be cool on this podcast, guys. Culture.
Okay, I'm glad that's out, but we had no
We're
beef.
good now.
You had the beef. I had no beef. And I just wanted to clear it up. I do not owe her money. I did not
No, we're good.
mess up the car.
We're good.
Are we good?
Let's pump. There we
Wow,
go. We're
you're
good.
really cool.
We're never speaking. We're never speaking about
We're
this
never
again.
speaking about this again. Please.
You can take me out for dinner, though.
Okay. I'll definitely take you out for dinner.
Okay, that's
All right.
fine.
We
So
can start the
sorted now.
interview now.
Yes. Oh my gosh, let's do it.
Let's make
Okay.
some noise for the merch,
Yeah.
please.
I wish I had the
Let
merch
me
here.
Yes,
We're
but
waiting. Yeah.
we're doing this interview
Yeah.
very early.
Yeah.
We'll get the merch. But
Yeah.
for now, I mean, they can see my shoes.
You've got
it's the
the-
first time I'm wearing these shoes out. I usually just keep
I've
them.
never worn mine.
Look at these.
They look amazing. They're still white and no creases, nothing.
You know what I mean?
Amazing.
I had to wear them today.
So everything in this capsule that we have just released, the quality, I mean, the materials that we've used is really premium stuff. The intention is to make it legacy and long and give it longevity. And it also, the design speaks to, you know what I thought about, and I asked people, and it was like, is this something Kenan would wear? Would he put on that T-shirt himself? You know, and outside of the AK branding on there, is it the kind of quality that you would wear? And yes, the answer is yes. It's so that is kind of what it is. So it's not just a once-off. It's going to be an ongoing thing. We'll have different drops, you know, a couple throughout the year, and it could be different things. And it could also be different themes, and that's a whole different conversation about, you know, how do you decide on what's on the T-shirt?
I think that's a beautiful thing, you know, to keep a legacy going.
Yeah.
I think his fans do want a piece of him in any other way, whether it's clothing, whether it's music, you know. But just judging from the conversation that I've had with you prior to this, you've told me, like, obviously people, a lot of different peoples have different opinions about it, right? Certain people, when you guys putting out the Instagram posts, other people might feel a certain way, like, why are you guys posting about this? Like, so what are you guys, what are the challenges in getting it out? And also, they don't know that you are also behind this. So they might be thinking it's just a random person.
People.
So I think this gives people a little bit of an insight to see how it works.
And I think this was part of why I said to you, you know, maybe it's time for a conversation. So absolutely, you know, you find, and I think that is one of the things, people would have comments. And let me tell you, I did think I needed to come and talk to you about it, but I also have a little bit of a giggle behind the scenes when I read some of these things. There was a time when I probably would get really upset about it and think, what do these people know about it? But I understand that people are invested. Some other people are just there with their phone, they're just typing, you know, it depends. But so I think the clarification is that, yes, whatever comes out on the AK pages on social media is approved by the family.
Okay.
There's nobody behind the scenes there that's sitting there having access to his accounts. It's us. In fact, it's me. I'll just tell you.
Wow.
So people, I mean, we've got teams of people doing things, but I have this kind of, I'm that protective mom kind of thing, you know, I want to make sure that I keep his stuff secure and whatever. So there's obviously, like this morning, people will send me all the content, but I actually do the posting. So when you see anything coming out on any of the AK or the AK socials, it's AK's mom.
Okay.
Yeah, it's AK's mom. So maybe I'm a control freak. That's the thing. I think it's about legacy. I feel like I'm the custodian of his legacy, you know.
So what are the challenges?
So the challenges, So people will say things, and I think after this, maybe they understand, but people will say things, for instance, like, can we just let the guy rest? Okay. Or maybe, you know, they're just milking him.
Milking him?
Wait, we get there.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Now, I want to give an analogy. If, oh my gosh, if this building's owner, no, I was thinking, I almost said the names.
Oh, okay.
If this building's owner this is a business, right? And if this building's owner passes away, does the business stop? No. AKA, there's two things here. There are two streams here. There's Kenan, who's a son, a father, a brother, a family member. And then there's AKA, who's a brand and a business. And that business continues, not just because the business has the opportunity or the potential of making money or income or, you know, anything like that, which also I'm not going to apologize for. My son worked hard. He has a daughter that has to be taken care of. And I mean, her mom is amazing and she can obviously take care of her own daughter. But we have a legacy to take forward and we have a responsibility to contribute. Not that she wants us to, but, well, maybe she wants us to.
She does.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think for Z it would be an issue if we couldn't. But why would we not do that if Kenan had and he worked for that? So I want people to understand that, you know, he's an artist. It's not somebody that just passed away and there's nothing. We're talking about a whole legacy, a business, an artist, a brand. So I'm not making excuses for milking my son's legacy. And I'm not. I mean, there's also the other thing people have to understand. When somebody passes away like this unexpectedly, it's literally like, a match is being ripped out from underneath you. It's turmoil. It's all sorts of things. But when somebody also dies like this, everything doesn't go back to factory settings and back to zero. There's a whole estate that has to be sorted out. There's responsibilities for that estate. There's stuff that must be paid. Do you think everybody just says, oh, well, he died, so you don't have to pay us back whatever he... So understand right now that for us, let me tell you, I mean, and I don't need to go into the details of our finances and stuff like that, but people don't understand the intricacies of estates and how that has to be sorted out and how many things has to be paid off and sorted out before we can even finalize the estate. So when we put out things and we, monetize Kenan's estate, well, it's not for that reason only, but it's part of the reason. There's things that has to be sorted out. And then there's a future that we have to look at. I mean, Tito, you know for a fact, my son literally looked after me. I mean, he was my bank. He was literally my ATM. I mean, I know people are going to, that's probably, they're going to come for me.
No, but wait, why? No, I'll come in, I'll interject. You took care of him the rest of his life. I think it's only right.
But also, but I was thinking that's the one they're going to grab and say, she said he was the ATM. Anyway, it's fine. We don't worry about that. Okay. What I'm saying is that, Kenan and I, we had a life together as much as he had his own house. But I mean, he looked after me and I looked after him. I looked after his daughter. We had that kind of relationship of taking care of each other. But to be honest with you, I depended on my son for a lot of things. For the roof over my head, for the food on my table. He was that son and that child that made sure his mother on a monthly basis got her, what did you call it on when we had it? What did you
Your allowance.
No, what did you say? Say the truth what you said.
When you were speaking before.
The other day when you and you said it's almost like he
was...
Oh,
girlfriend allowance. Your blesser?
So Tito said, Kenan was almost like your blesser. And I said, no, man. So he was like my spiritual blesser, maybe.
Oh, yes.
No, but I mean, we get the point. Kenan, and so people need to understand, it's easy to sit behind a phone and say this and that and the other, but no, and I'll never I'll never apologize for it. Of course. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the fact that he actually left us with something that we can take forward. Just imagine how amazing that is. I mean, how many years? I looked yesterday. When was it? Yesterday, I quickly checked how long Kenan has been in the industry. Since Entity days, since Royal School of Hip Hop, since whatever. It's about 21 years in the industry.
It's amazing.
So how can I not be proud? And do you think I'm definitely, I don't care what people think and say, I'm not letting it go to ashes,
You shouldn't. Yes, I think people who are his fans would want the legacy to carry on.
No, and this is the other thing I wanted to say. So I wanted to say this is very important to say. When I say these are the challenges, I must tell you that, or the social media challenges, because there are other challenges that we can speak about if you want to. But I mean when I say about people saying X, Y, Z, it really is the minority. Hey, I mean the Megacy. Look, I mean there's the Megacy and there's the Megacy and the listen. And also, I also reach out to people in the Megacy to tell me, what do you think about this? What do you think about, because that's what Kenan did. Kenan was very much in contact with his fans and he took their ideas on board. So I do the same thing, And so when I think 99.99999% of the Megacy is probably for what we do.
Yeah. So that's the merch and other people feeling a certain type of way.
Yeah.
Let's also discuss we're talking about legacy, right? A lot of fans wonder, are we gonna get AKA's new music?
Yeah.
Me and you have also had a conversation, obviously behind closed doors about these. Yeah. But do you have can the fans expect new music from Kenan?
Look, I'm gonna be honest, we're having an open conversation. I can't say never. I cannot say yes, it will happen at this point, and I'll tell you why. Because there is unreleased music, loads of it. We've gone through all of that, and there is. But here's the thing, and this could just be me feeling this way, and in a couple of years, because I'm not working by myself. There again, I say to you, there's an estate. We need to look at what can be done and what cannot be done, but we can also not just do things for the sake of the fans want music. For me, it's always, would Kiernan have released this music? So I think we're going to go forward looking at it and saying, on the one hand, we could probably release all the music there's so much to, if we want to do it. But do we want to do it? How would he have felt about us?
He was very sensitive about his music.
Exactly.
So there's certain songs that you would record but never wanted out.
Never. And this is the thing for me. So what I'm looking at is, so personally, if it was up to me, and I'm going to be honest, if it's up to me, that music will never be released. If I have to make the final decision, it will not happen. That's how I feel about it. But you see, again, this is the thing where I'm saying to you,
be happy about
there's the mother, and then there's something different. But I'm also not just going to really, or when I'm saying if we have the fans wanting the unreleased music, we'll have to get to that point where we say, well, what will be released, number one? And I mean, that's not something, what do I know about music? I'll probably have to say, Tido, come see, come look, guys, this one, that one, whoever. It's not a question, something that I will decide on what will be released if we ever get there. I'm just saying to you, as a mother, and knowing my son, his work ethic, how he was, Kiernan will tell you an album will come out in a month's time, like, for instance, the album was that album did come out in February. You guys spoke in November. But before, I think Levels, if we go back, Kiernan will tell you something is coming out, and then it comes in another year later. So he was very meticulous. He was about perfection and excellence and all of that. Can we actually reproduce? Can we actually do that with his music? Are we capable of doing that with his music to the point that he would have done?
I think you also need to give yourself a little bit of credit with the music in terms of, I was surprised, like maybe a few months back, we met for dinner, me, you, Don Design, and Zaz Boy, and you were able to like quote us the bars on some verse to say, I'm not sure if this should be out. I was like, wow, you can decipher rap lyrics like that. I was kind of impressed,
Thank you. Look, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna come in here like, I write poetry.
You write poetry.
Oh. And I've always written, so let me, maybe take it up to maybe it took after me a little bit, can I just claim that maybe, you never
please.
know,
Like, because I actually even want to backtrack to see, like, where does all the source come from, right? If we can just backtrack for a little bit, we'll bring it back up, right?
I'm not going to claim, like, I played him this music and that music when he was young, but I can also tell you, like, I know, I'm, bars and rhymes. I know these things.
Okay, let's actually go back
don't
his,
try me.
No. Let's go back to his upbringing, like him coming up as a little kid. Did you actually know, or did you actually see that Kiernan was going to be a superstar that he is?
Absolutely. From when he was little. Kiernan was made for the stage. Look, I can't, maybe let me not say superstar. Maybe I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But a performer.
Yes.
From when he was little. Kiernan was that guy that if family is visiting, if we're visiting anywhere, if we go and see his grandparents, he would be that child that cannot sit still until somebody actually pays attention to him. So he wants to be standing there, and he wants to be doing his Michael Jackson dances, and he wants to be, he's just a performer, and he was, Kiernan was this person, he was very good at general knowledge, for instance. So you would want to tell you, people will ask him questions, and he will answer, and then he would also have this thing where you would sometimes just, I don't know if he's fed up, but, they'll ask him maybe who's the president of South Africa, and then he'll say Winnie Mandela. And he would know that he's talking nonsense.
Yeah.
So, he's had this thing where he wants to tell people, the flags of every country. Caro's the same now, eh? Caro does the same thing. She knows the flags of every country in the world.
Beautiful.
So, Kiernan was that. He was definitely a performer. He always wanted to be he always wanted to be the center of attraction or attention, and a show off. Yeah, he always thought he also encyclopedias. I mean, he would read encyclopedias and he loved reading. His general knowledge was on another level. And then the music obviously comes from, I mean, Uncle Tony always talks about, him playing the music in the house. And, a lot of that is definitely the influences
Yeah,
that
he would
Kenan,
tell me that he
Yeah.
gets like because he sampled a lot in his
Yes.
music, and he would say like the music like
from his father.
his father would play in the
Yeah.
house would actually.
Yeah.
Was he
Yeah.
a naughty kid?
No. Kenan was never a naughty kid. Kenan,
real?
listen, no. Kenan was a very good kid. Kenan was that child that when we went to a wedding, he'll be at home and watch the inauguration of Nelson Mandela by himself at home. He had mumps or something, You know what mumps are?
No.
No, man, childhood illnesses. Don't you guys get mumps anymore?
You guys have mumps?
Mumps and chicken pox and those things.
Oh yes, chicken pox.
Mums, Kenan had mums, and we went to a wedding, and Kenan was sitting there. He was 6 years old by himself at home watching the inauguration. When you come back, he tells you about what happened. He was
The way you're describing him is like he was like a nerd when he was a kid.
No, he wasn't a nerd, but he was very much about, like Kara would say, me and my dad, we love information.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So me and my dad, we love information. So he loved information. He read, but he was also a kid he wasn't naughty. He was not that child that kind of did crazy things. No. Kenan ended up in high school being the head of discipline,
Head of discipline.
for his house.
He never
at
mentioned
St.
that to
John's.
us, eh?
No, he was the head of discipline
Very-
for his house at St. John's.
Is it?
Mm.
That's
So
amazing.
no, I can't believe Kenan was also not that child that went out and look. I mean, obviously he did things and look. Listen. Maybe maybe it's just because I'm the mom. Maybe I just don't know.
Other information won't get to you.
Maybe I just don't know the stories.
Yes.
I do
But
know.
it's about what you know.
The
yes.
only one thing I can remember is once they went out when they were in high school and he got drunk and he called his dad to fetch him. He was responsible like that.
Okay.
And but no, maybe I just don't know, I mean, moms just maybe I just don't know. But
Maybe.
as a little kid, no. As a little kid, he was a very good child. He was not a naughty kid. What else? Yeah, no. He was
And
a
the
good
family
kid.
house, like how did you guys just to give people a little bit of a picture, like how
Oh.
you guys came up as a family?
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a struggle,
Okay.
It was well. When I say a struggle, guys, no, there's struggles and there's struggles,
Yes.
So let me rather say Tony and I. No, listen, Tony and I got married I was in my first year of varsity. I was pregnant.
What?
I was literally pregnant with Kenan.
What?
Yes. Anyway, skanda, as they say in Afrikaans. My mother almost disowned me. Hi, guys.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, that was 1980. I finished school in 1986. In 1987, I was at varsity, UWC. Tony and I met there. Tony was third year. I was first year. Boom. June, I was married.
Married.
What? Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so we lived with his parents. This is how we came up. We started off living with his parents in Mitchell's Plain, and then we moved to
That
his
could never
aunt.
happen now.
No.
Like life was so beautiful way back. Like if I'm told a girl like you're gonna live with me and my parents, that was not happening.
No, we
That's
lived
not
with
happening.
him
Not now.
Yeah.
It's a different world now.
Listen.
Yeah.
We actually, when we had to, so his parents called my parents because my parents are living out in the Free State near there where we came from, a little place called Oppermansgronde. Listen, you don't even know these words. And Koffiefontein. You don't know where that is. Don't worry, it's in the Free State. So we're in Cape Town now. His parents are calling my parents to tell my parents this is what's going on. And we're coming down to meet them. And then we get married a day before Tony's birthday. A day before Tony's 21st birthday. We just got there.
Before his 21st, you guys were married.
Yes, I was 18. Listen, you guys will never
18.
survive that life.
I think life was beautiful way back.
It
then.
was beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we went back and we carried on with our studies and everything. Kenan was born and Kenan, so we lived. So then we started off living with his parents and then we moved in to like a little, like literally, like if you think of a pool house, his aunt's house, there was like a little room in the back there where we stayed. And then eventually Tony, we remember now we're students with a baby. We're students with a baby.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And then Tony got a job and he started working very fancy. He worked for Anderson Consulting.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then, gosh, man, that's funny. No, I'm just thinking back. And then we moved to our own house. And then, Kenan then started off. Kenan was that boy that went to Holy Cross Convent. And and then we eventually came to Joburg in 1994. So we were very much, a normal family, Sundays you go and visit the granny and normal family, nothing like. And I think that is why my kids are the way they are. Kenan still has always had that. I don't think Kenan ever presented as this person, that was like wealthy or
No,
anything like that. Kenan
Yeah.
came from a normal family and he always at home. I mean, him, me, Caro and I used to stay with him for a week, and then you remember we would stay with him for a week, and then she would go to her mom, and then the next week. So it's not Caro staying with Kenan, it's mom and Caro staying with Kenan. And we just had we used to just have fun, and I mean, you've been around there. So I don't think so. And I think that's another thing, people, and I don't want to speak on everybody because I don't know other people's business, but I think, there might be this perception of celebrity and, or famous people or being automatically these people with money rolling. And I don't think that was ever something that Kenan portrayed. I mean, he liked nice things.
A lot.
A lot, we know that. But he was just somebody that worked hard. And all he really wanted more than anything is to provide for his family, He liked nice things, so a lot.
We all do.
He liked nice
We
things.
all
but-
do.
But
Yeah.
I think it's important, and I want to, I think it's important that we have these real conversations,
Yes. What values do you think you installed in him when you looked at him? You're like, you know what? I think he gets that from me.
Ooh. He's funny. I
He's
think
very
he gets that
funny.
from me.
Yeah.
But his dad is also funny.
Yeah.
I think Kenan is, but I just think he's a hardworking person. I think he was about, but also, apart from being hardworking, Kenan was also somebody that could get over his, and I don't know if that, I think it's a combination of things, I do think he gets the rhymes from me though.
From
the
you, the
raps.
poetry, yes.
Yeah, you call it the rhymes or the raps, the what?
The rhymes, the raps,
poetry.
he gets it from
Because
you.
if you go through, I mean, it's the poetry, it's the rhyming, right?
Yeah.
It's that's from me.
I think we should
absolutely from
change
me.
you from like Auntie Lynn to MC Lynn.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. So I think, but also there's another thing I think Kenan gets from me. I do think, and not so much from me specifically, but from my dad. My father was an avid reader, and my dad was a teacher. So my dad was that person that would put Kenan on his lap and he would ask him questions. And they would have these conversations about geography and history and all of that stuff. So I think Kenan's general knowledge
It was amazing.
which was
Yeah.
top notch. I mean, but so maybe not the actual fact that he had all that knowledge, but the interest in information.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, his father was, when it again came to technical stuff, that was his dad's side of it. So there's an overlap. You can never really just claim something as absolutely you. But I think he got his looks from me. He might look like his dad, but he actually got it from me.
Are you saying the good sides of the looks?
The good side of the looks he got from me, and then he also Kenan was also kind, eh? Kenan
He was very
and
caring.
Kenan was a
Yeah.
very caring,
Yeah.
kind, and generous person,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he does get that from again,
That's
it's
all
it's a
from you.
combination. No,
Okay.
no. I'm not
Where's
gonna be,
the arrogance from? It's not from you?
I don't know if it's arrogance. He gets his confidence from me.
Oh, okay.
Mm. I don't think he was ever arrogant. He gets that confidence from me.
Yeah, let's call it that.
Mm. Why do you not want to call my child arrogant? It was confidence. Come on. My child was never arrogant. It
I
was
mean, we gave
confidence.
him the caring, we gave him the sweet, the kind, the generous.
Where did he get his I don't know. Kenan was also a little boy at heart, eh?
Mm.
Kenan had that childlike thing about him. You
Mhm.
just want to look for bad things to say about my child.
No.
I'm his mother. I'm not going to say bad
I
things.
know. I know.
No. Kenan wasn't perfect, man. We also know
None
that.
of us are.
No, but I
Yeah.
mean, he was a little bit less perfect. But he was amazing.
He's probably just like looking up. Just like,
What is she doing, that well lady? No, but but I think all in all, Kenan was an awesome person, man.
most
You know?
definitely. And I think like a lot of people that never got to know him would never know that side because
I always say
he was
that.
also an entertainer.
Yeah.
Like, and the entertainer in him
Yeah.
knew when to switch on the other side
Yes.
to be entertaining on social media.
Yes.
As much as he's like a sweet, caring guy,
Yeah. I miss
he
his
knew
tweets,
what to
man.
do.
Don't you miss his tweets?
Of course. He knew what to
Yeah.
do to spice up things
Absolutely.
on social media. You
I
know?
always think like, I look at it now and I'm like, what would Kenan have been saying about all the stuff that's happening?
Do you
hey?
know what's crazy? Have you been seeing like people always, whenever something happens in his country, they bring up his old tweets and they resonate with everything. And
everything.
you
It's
can
like
tell everything that you spoke about, like well read. He's very informed on a lot
Yeah.
of subjects from politics to sports
Yeah.
to music to everything. So it
Yeah.
showed on the timeline. And he was just way ahead of his time in terms of
Yeah.
like understanding the market. You
Yeah.
know, he would always tell me when I was like, no, why are you doing this? Why, Tito, relax, this is WWE. He
Yeah,
knew when
exactly.
to actually bring on the other side of like
Yeah.
the entertainment and to get people riled up.
Riled
You
up
know,
about
yeah.
because I think it was so vast, his interest. I
Yeah.
mean, and his knowledge was, Kenan could speak on anything.
Yeah.
I could listen. I must tell you stories. You see, I want to tell you how Kenan rubbed off on Cairo. Cairo would say to me,
Yeah.
like this, when she was little, but she still does that. But when she was a bit smaller, she would say to me, "Glammy," she calls me Glammy.
Yeah.
You know that. She would say to me, "Glammy, you need to have change in your car for when we get to the traffic light or to the petrol station, because my daddy gives people money."
Oh.
Then I would have change. Then she says, "No, you need the blue one." The paper one, you need
Yeah.
to give them the blue paper. And I
Yeah.
said, "No, my child, I'm not." But he was
You need to give
generous
her
in that
100.
way.
Yes,
Kenan was
yes.
generous in a way. Now after Kenan passed, I tell you, the people that have reached out to me telling me stories about what Kenan has done
Mhm.
for them, I had I had somebody that reached out to say that Kenan paid for a heart transplant.
Mhm.
I don't know if you know about that.
Yes, I do.
No, but you see, we never talk about these
Yes.
things. And he would never have mentioned that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
But there's so many things that he did for other people that people don't actually know about.
I
you know?
also mentioned on my first interview, I interviewed him on the podcast that
I heard that, yeah.
he like there was a Alex,
The
like
Alex
I'm from
thing.
Alex, and he donated money for the Alex fire.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
and people
He
never
was so
knew until
generous.
I mentioned it. It's not something that
Yeah.
he put in the forefront.
Yeah,
Do you get what I'm saying?
exactly. So I think he was he was an incredibly generous person,
Mm.
Yeah, and that's probably why I have to work so hard now on his stuff, because I need to collect all the money so that we can sort out his things.
People need to understand, like
Yeah.
obviously when life, unfortunately, life will have to like carry on.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like with you, how has life just in general been without him?
Yeah. So okay, now that is like you know what it's a constant adjustment, even still now. And that's just another thing. I think, somebody dies and for a while it impacts so many people. And I'm not saying it doesn't continue to, but the people, the family, or let me just speak about me myself, it is just not something that ever goes away. It's that constant adjustment to life without him. And I think I was actually thinking to myself, I actually think I've aged. Hey, I know I've just naturally decided to let my hair go gray, but that's not the thing. Physically, I feel like I've literally aged so much faster since my son has gone, because it's the lack of sleep that still I find I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, that hour when Kenan would
Yes,
call
send
you
us the
in
music, yes.
But I mean, it's just that everything, it's your nervous system, it's this whole I mean, where did I ever think that I would have to learn about what Kenan did and try and be the custodian of his legacy and speak to Sony and speak to, it's like it's publishing and it's licensing and it's record labels.
I can imagine because in like a normal scenario, like
Yeah.
when a mother loses a son, they don't have
She
to
just-
deal with
yeah.
all these things. They just grieve.
But
Yeah.
exactly. And then there's the other thing, it's the public loss,
Yeah, but for now,
losing somebody
yeah,
in the public eye.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying to you is that no, it's not something that I can look. I believe that the only way forward for me is to actually realize that he's gone, and I have, and to actually move forward. You can't sit in that all the time. You need to find a way forward. And I do a lot of things. I get up for one. You have to get up. And you have to see this is a new day, and I have to move forward with what needs to be done. But I do feel like it's physically, it also takes a toll on you, But look, we can go on and have this conversation for a long time to really go into the nitty-gritty of how it is. But no, I miss him every day.
Mm.
I really do. I miss him not just for the physical part of him, but having lost Kenan is not just losing the person, it's losing so many other things. Like I explained to you, it's losing that person that took care of you. It's a whole different world, you know? And I can literally go on about it for a long time, but but there's also the other part of you that becomes stronger and grateful because of what he did build and what he did and of who he was,
It's been obviously like 3 years now.
Just over 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
In February it was 3 years. Yeah.
Has there been a different change like in you in terms of like how you have grieved this? I can't imagine like any
Yeah.
mother losing a kid. Like I
Yeah.
think that could be one of the
Yeah.
worst pains ever in life.
Yeah. So you're asking me how
Like
the
how
question
have
is?
you I understand from a business point
Yeah,
of view
but
that you've
from-
had to deal, but just from a personal point of
Yeah.
view, has it been like have you realized like, oh, like I'm actually stronger than I thought? Whoa, I've went through this situation
Yeah.
2 years ago. I'm
Yeah.
here now
Yeah.
this year. Have you gone through those different transitions? I've
Yeah.
never went through something like this.
So so I must tell you,
Yeah.
the one thing I can tell you for free right now
Yeah.
is that this thing of grief has stages. I don't believe in that. Because grief for me is a up and down thing. I actually listened to Nadia's when she was here, and she talked about the day when she called me on Kenan's birthday.
Mhm.
She spoke to you about how she was in tears, and she
Yeah.
called me, and I was just happy.
Yeah.
And then later on, I called. I said, "Oh, by the way, she spoke to me about. We spoke about it, and I said, well, you should have called me 2 days later, because then I was on the carpet with my face in the on the floor crying. Not really on the floor. I mean, that's a bit dramatic, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
So I think for me, this is it. It's the how I go forward, because for me, I am grateful for the time I had with Kenan. I do believe that Kenan lived a full life, and I do believe that Kenan achieved a lot of things in his lifetime, and maybe he always had to be here for a short time. And but for me, it's also understanding that not understanding, it's this feeling of knowing that I'm never going to be the same person. It's making peace with I'm an altered human being. Essentially the essence of Auntie LYNN, like me, is there. But I know that I am completely not the same person, and I will never be ever, ever, ever again the same person. It's like a piece of me is just gone. You grow this child inside of you. A child is so much part of a mom. And I'm not saying therefore it's easier for the family or the father or the what, but I don't know. I just feel like, like for instance, the day when I heard of him, I listened to, I must tell you this, I've spoken to Bianca about this, but it's not the same because it's not a mom, but I've spoken to Louisa, Bianca, Ricky's mom. Louisa and I, we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro together. Did you know that? Louisa and I
Oh yes, you
summited
did tell
together.
me. You
Yeah,
did tell me.
but that's
And
another
you said
story.
we're gonna hike, and you never lived up to that.
I
But
was
it's
still
anyway.
waiting
Let's
for
move
you.
on. Let's move
But-
on. Let's go back. Let's go.
So Louisa, when I speak to Louisa about this, or I speak to Costa's mom, we also speak often, or I speak to Thingy's mom now. What's her name? Beverly.
We won't know his-
Warris.
Warris's mom. So you
Warris's
speak
mom.
to Warris' mother, Ricky's
Yeah.
mother,
Yeah, we talk to each other.
Kosovtich's mother,
Yeah,
and Ricky's mother.
yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of speak to each other, and so Beverly was saying this to me, Warris's mom, when I phoned her. She said, the first thing, and I could identify, what? I listened to an interview of hers with SABC with Griselda Lewis.
Mhm.
And in that interview, I listened to that interview and I thought, I called her straight after that because I thought everything she's saying is what I experienced on the day Kenan died, because the only thing I wanted to do was to get to him.
Mm.
It's that feeling of, and I think it's this thing of when your child is born, that's the first thing you hold them. And it doesn't matter how old they are. I tell you that you just want to get there.
Mm.
And there's a few other things that she spoke about, and I just think, and it's these things, it's always going to be with you. So having lost a child is just something that changes a mother, and it's just something that you need to get used to and live with. So I don't know if I've now actually answered the question that you asked me, but it's really just a daily thing for me. I could be right here, right now, and we can laugh and all of this. But even when you are really happy, there's always that something hovering inside of you, and that's that loss. And that's kind of. But other than that, we're good.
I think I get it.
Yeah.
Like even from a son, I think sons, we are just so connected to our mother more than anything. So I can get like how you'd obviously have that connection and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think my mother's the closest relationship I've had in my life.
Yeah.
My mother and my son.
Yeah.
Or talking about my mother, you guys even share the same birthday.
See?
Yeah.
11th of July. What did Kenan say?
Yeah, our moms are born on the same day.
That is
For,
crazy. Why
um,
were we beefing?
What was it? July. Nah?
Nigga doesn't even know his
16,
mom's
16,
birthday.
16, nah? 16. What is it? 16 July?
Mama Forbes, Keenan doesn't know when your
I know
birthday
Dad is on 4th of July. You on? Shit. That just happened? I'm going to check it out, man. I love you.
I'm sorry, Mama
I'm bad
Forbes.
bad with dates, no, don't play me like that. Don't play me like that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Sorry,
Wait.
man. I love you.
Say the 7th of July. When is my mom's birthday? The 6th of July. I mean, that child was terrible. I love him though. But how do you forget your mother's birthday?
It happens. You're a human.
And if I forget your birthday, yeah.
But at
No.
least you knew, right?
No, he was funny about it
Yeah.
though. He would always say to me, Mom, remind me. Also the other thing. How Kenan was about, I told you this thing. I'm now just offering information here on your podcast, but it's interesting.
No, we want them from me here to
Remember how
talk.
Kenan,
Yeah.
Kenan, I don't know if I'm allowed to say places here, man, but anyway, I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah.
You know how Kenan would take me out, to places. Have I told you the story?
No,
And,
but
and Kenan,
maybe you're telling me for the first time this year.
Kenan had this thing of where I can go. Well, firstly, it's like, Mom,
Yeah.
you need to understand if you leave the house, you're representing
Oh,
a
yeah, you've
brand.
told me. Yeah,
You
you've
know,
told
you
me
know the
this.
thing
Yeah, you've
that-
told
Can
me
I go
this.
there with that
Yeah.
story?
Yes.
So because maybe I'll give them some marketing also. So Kenan would do this, and he would say, "This is, you need to look a certain way, you need to dress a certain way, you need to represent the brand. This is a family business, whatever." But there was this thing about Jamelis, man. I could never go to Jamelis. Like, he would never let me go to Jamelis. He says, "No, it's not for moms."
Yeah, I agree.
Is it not for moms?
Imagine your mom at Jameli. Aye.
Yeah, no. So, but he wouldn't even. I couldn't even go there with him. Look, I never went there by myself.
Yeah.
But if he had to take me out, we would never go to Jameli. We
Yeah.
could go to Signature, yes.
That makes sense.
Sorry, Jameli and Signature. But boys, take your mom to Signature. I hope
SMS.
Signature's gonna give me free meals from now on.
I hope they do. We're even giving them such marketing on this podcast. They better give you a free meal. Signature, make it right.
I'm just joking, please.
No, I'm not. I'm not joking. We want free meals. Yeah.
But
Mm.
yeah, that was the story with. I don't know even know what you asked me the last time. You
No,
asked me
it's okay.
anything.
We went down. It's a conversation.
a
It's gonna go. It's gonna
conversation.
go to different places.
Yes.
You know, and I, for me personally, I think just to speak from another perspective, just outside of a personal perspective
Yeah.
of what you went through, his presence is missed so much in the music. Like he was such a big presence in South African hip hop specifically. You know, he was very loud, he was very vocal,
Yes.
he was very active.
Yes.
And you can feel his presence missing so much in the game. Like I know you are aware,
I know. Yeah. But it's
just
good
to
hear it.
let you know that
Yes.
like you really raised like a king
Yeah.
in this music business, because he understood the game at such a level that other people were not on. He was like 10 steps ahead. Never mind
Absolutely.
just the music, just like knowing that the music a sample has to bring a South African sound. And from you not to actually even talk about, like, he was like a colored kid,
Yes.
but he understood black culture so
Absolutely.
much.
People said his heart was black.
I agree. I asked him here, like on the podcast, like, why are you always dating black women?
Yes, I know.
Said, Tito, why are you always dating colored women?
Yeah. True, Tito. Why do you always?
No,
date
I don't
colored
only
women?
date. No, don't put that on me.
But you know
Don't-
what? This is
don't put that on me. Please, no, please.
No. I'm not going there.
I'm so surprised someone has never asked you this question in an interview.
Yeah.
Why are you always dating black girls, though? Why you like?
I don't know why you got a colored baby.
I'm never going to claim to be an industry person like you are in that kind of role, or people that work. I am Kennan's mom, but you know what?
But this is
I can give myself grace for that, because here's the thing: we lost a whole super mega.
and
I don't want
think-
to. I don't want to kind of cut myself. But there's also a place where you get to where you say, you know what? Okay, now stop, pause, reassess, then you can move forward. And that's the strategy for me personally at the moment. You know, where I'm at.
I think it's important that you give yourself grace, because you've never dealt with this before. It's the first time you are dealing with it.
And you should never
And
deal with
look
something
how
like
many
that.
things you have had to learn about the industry,
Yeah.
you know, to be
That's
able to do these things. And I also want to say it out there to the people that you actually do want to do right by your son and the legacy. I mean,
Absolutely.
if anything, that you would ask certain questions, like just to be clear on certain things. And, you know, I think I just want to put the message out there for the fans to say, let's also be more understanding of that, based on the fact that you lost your son, but now you have to navigate and be a businesswoman
Yes.
and learn about the industry when you've never been in the industry
Absolutely.
at all. So, like, how are you supposed to just be able to multitask and do things
All these
correctly?
things.
And when you've never been in this position, you know?
And there's a lot of backwards and forwards. You know, it's such a new terrain. It's such a, you know, it's just like, it's something you never expected. You know, you really need to give yourself grace. But also, I want people to, you know, this is important for me, and this is what I've been, because this is what I've been kind of keeping in front of me recently, in recent months now, is that there's a lot of pressure from people to do things. Yeah. But what I've realized also, and I hope you agree with me about this, Kiernan has built his legacy. We do not have to build that legacy. We have to preserve it, and we have to be the custodians of it. But I don't believe it's ever going to disappear. Kiernan has done what he needed to do. And even if it takes us a while to get our bearings, he's you know, it's never going to just be gone. It's there. And if we pick it up at any point, we can build on it and we can go on. I'm not saying we're talking about years and years. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to find myself in a position where there's so much pressure and now you're just doing things for the sake of doing them. Because that's not how Kenan operated. He didn't just do things for the sake of doing them. He really was that person that needed to know that what I'm doing is meaningful, you know? So I do ask for grace.
Grace is a very dangerous word to say on this podcast specifically.
Oh, yes. Oh, my word. Yeah,
You
no,
can't
no,
just
no.
use the word
It's-
grace on this
no,
podcast.
No, that word grace. Oh,
Please.
I should have thought about it. Grace. You see, and also no. Guys, leave Nandi alone. I love her. I said it.
And it was a birthday two
It
days
was 2
ago.
days
Happy
ago.
birthday, Nandi.
Happy birthday,
We love
Nandi.
you, Nandi.
Yeah. Well, people, I also think, the thing is that when I said to Nadia, for instance, about her situation on the podcast, I said, this is the thing. Somebody, when you say something into a mic, how many people is hearing what you're saying? And everybody can interpret it whichever way they want to interpret it. And it's
Facts.
never what you meant,
Facts.
And so whatever I said here today, guys, I meant it.
You're definitely Kenan's mom.
I am certified.
Besides, just outside of Kenan, just
Yeah.
maybe people to get to maybe wanted to know about Auntie Lynn.
Yes, okay.
You specifically as
Yeah.
a person.
Okay.
But what are your interests in life?
What am I busy or
Yeah,
what am
are
I
you
doing?
busy with? What are your
Yeah.
interests in life?
Can you see now they're gonna say I made it about me? But anyway, let me make it about me.
I'm
Okay.
making it about you.
Okay, about me. So quickly, I'm a teacher. That is my profession. I am a teacher, and I taught for 6 months only
How? But
after I qualified. Because then I was pregnant and I had a child and everything. And then I started working with my husband, and I became that lady that, her husband owns a business and she does everything in the office, that jack of all trades. No, but seriously, I studied psychology. By the way, I've just finished. In fact, this is part of my healing journey. I've just finished a grief coaching course.
oh wow.
Yeah. But it wasn't really to coach other people. I will use it if I have to, and I'll tell you now where I can use it. But I'm actually I'm now a certified grief coach, Tito.
Wow.
Just imagine.
Can you give us more in terms of obviously the title explains it, but would you
No,
just
it's-
explain it further for people who are just watching?
Yeah, but I'm not using it on other people. It was for my own benefit, okay?
Oh.
But I'll tell you what it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
how do you become the coach?
No. So I
Okay.
did a course as a
Yeah.
grief coach, but it was really for me for my own benefit, to understand how grief works. I think it was just something I decided to do because I think it's valuable to have, especially when you've lost somebody and people want to ask you about it all the time. Or a lot of people come to me, and they say, "How did you deal with this?" And I feel like I can then speak to them with more actual
Insight.
But it's not really a coaching, it is a grief coaching course, but it's about being able to when I sit down with somebody that's, let's say, just lost somebody, okay, and to be able to guide that person through their grief journey without saying something like, but at least you've got another son. Sorry, I'm pulling up things that people used to say to me.
That's
at least you.
crazy.
So it's that kind of it's the tools that stands you in good stead when you speaking to people, but it can also be used in a professional. It's not a psychologist. It's not a grief counselor. It's not a psychologist. It's a coach. Like you get a life coach, or coaching is a bit different from coaching is a professional thing, but it's different from having a degree to be a grief counselor or grief psychologist or whatever you specialize in. So it's really just tools to handle grief, in a way that it serves people. But where it can come in, so I think I spoke to you about this. So I have my friend Kay, and the two of us have these what we call it's called Get Real with LYNN and Kay, and I think people who follow me, they know what I'm talking about. But we've got these retreats for women, not just for women, actually. The next one is only for women. So on the 19th of April, we have actually got one at Avianto. Kenan's shot his, one of his music videos at Avianto. Okay, but so what we're doing is we've got, so Kay is a coach. She's a life coach and she's a business coach and she's all of that. And I obviously have spent a lot of time doing, so I'm also a speaker. I speak, people will book me for talks about, remember I had Mount Kilimanjaro, I had all these things. So it's a inspirational speaker. I do a lot of that kind of bookings, But Kay and I decided about 3 years ago, just before, it was also August of 2022, we started Get Real with Lynn and Kay, and we actually put up these retreats where we talk. It's a healing retreat for women or for families or for what. So it could be grief, it could be all sorts of other things, but that's what I really am getting busy with now, or have been busy with for the last just over 3 years before Kenan passed on. And outside of that, I mean, my family, Cairo keeps me still very busy. I've got a lot of input there. And then the one thing that I want to get, what I do love doing, I love dancing. I do ballroom
You're an
dancing.
exceptional dancer. I've seen you.
Yes, I do ballroom dancing. I do hiking. I do nature. What else? I do so many things. I crochet. I knit. I'm an old lady, man. Most of all, I'm an old lady.
Talking about the old lady, my mom is busy calling me now. So weird. She probably can feel like I'm in the I'm in an interview. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are, but a lot of my time obviously is now also going into Kenan stuff.
Okay. Can I call my mom to see if it's an emergency?
Please call your
For 2
mom to see if
seconds.
it's an emergency. You must never
Well,
let your
she's-
mother wait.
She calls me on this. People know. She calls me on this podcast and doesn't
Then
care what's happening.
Then you answer.
Yes.
So call your mom and check with
Listen,
your mom.
2 seconds.
No problem.
Hello, Mama. Yes, I'm doing it. I saw your missed call. I'm doing an interview with AKA's mom.
With AK's mom.
Okay, you're
Can you hear me?
All right, fine. I'll talk to you later then.
Okay. Okay, sure.
You didn't say is it urgent?
Huh?
You didn't ask is it urgent?
But she said like you're okay, you're busy. I'll talk to you later. Must I ask if it's urgent?
Oh.
Okay, let me call it back. I'm gonna call it back.
Because maybe it's urgent and now she's not telling you it's urgent.
Hello.
Mama, is it urgent?
Huh?
Is it urgent?
No, it's not that urgent. Like you are doing an interview.
Okay.
Yes.
Say hi. Say hi to Keenan's mom. Say hello, Tandy.
Hello, Tandy. How are you?
I'm good and how are you?
I'm good, but your son is asking me lots of questions here.
I've heard a lot about you.
I'm sure he tells you. We've got the same birthday, hey?
Yeah, we've got the same date.
Yes,
birthday,
yes.
The 11th of July.
I think he must take us out for dinner when it's our birthday.
I agree.
Yes, I think so.
Yes, dinner's on me. Okay.
Okay.
I promise. Okay, we'll talk to you later then. Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye. So they know her on this podcast when I was interviewing Les.
Yeah.
She had an emergency.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm like, yeah, mom, I'm still doing the interview. She's like, yeah, but you need to Uber this. Like now, we have to stop.
So you quickly had to do it. I love it.
Yeah. And like
But it's so amazing that you take the phone calls. I think I really respect
mothers is important.
I honestly respect that.
Everyone else can wait.
Yes, but no,
I told you,
respect that.
relationships with son and mother.
Yes, it's a different thing.
Different kind of.
No, so now for me, that you get kind of a lot of respect from me for that.
Well, that's a lot of respect for me, regardless. But anyway.
No, but that is a huge deal
Yeah.
for me. I think that is awesome to do.
And then, so how has it been? Like, I know how close you are with Cairo,
Yes.
but just like, I can imagine her losing a father so early in her life. Like,
Yeah.
how has it been? Like, you having to step in there and being a grandmother and
Yeah.
a father, like,
Yeah. So to be honest with you, look, you can never obviously replace a dad. And Kenan, the relationship Kenan and Cairo had. Kenan and Cairo were super close, and she spent a week with her dad, as I said, and a week with her mom, and I would always be with her. So I can't say, one thing before I go on, one thing I must say about Z. One of the first things that Zintle told me after Kenan died was, don't worry, nothing will change.
Wow.
She told me that, with Cairo. She said, I want you to know, do not worry about it. Nothing will change. So we continued for Cairo to stay with me for a week, and then with her for a week, and with me for a week, and her for a week. But last year, towards the beginning of last year, I mean, Cairo's now getting into her tweens. I mean, she's double digits now. And, also just in terms of stability and school and all of that, we we did come to a point where Cairo now stays with her mom full time, and she comes to me depends also. I mean, I also had so many other things that I had to take care of, but also, she comes to, but we still see each other. Cindy and I have a really good relationship. We've always we've had our hiccups. Like last year, we had a few hiccups about disagreeing with, like, and we
But that's
family.
life.
No,
That's
but
family.
I'm
Yeah.
putting it in there because we're
Yeah.
family, man.
Yeah.
Family like disagree all the time, but we'll always love each other. So C and I, we really have that relationship. So Caro comes to me every second weekend now, but on a daily basis, I am like literally involved, especially, Zindia's very busy. So she needs a lot of support. And she really, we've got this thing of it takes a village to raise a child. And so Caro herself, I think children are super resilient. I think they are more resilient than adults. So she obviously misses her dad. But I must tell you, I can't say that she is broken or she is. Children have the ability to kind of almost move forward.
Do you think she fully understands everything?
I don't know. I think so maybe. So this is something I've noticed with her. I feel she she doesn't, so for instance, if she doesn't want to go to his grave, for instance, and we don't force her to go. I would go, she doesn't want to go. She says the zombies are gonna come out. She says that, Clammy. I think it's an excuse. She says, I think she watched too many movies. She says, if you go to a grave, the zombies will come out.
Yes, it must be.
No. I think literally she's just trying to find a way to not go there, because I think that makes her sad. And she does have her sad days. I mean, she'll tell you, she'll cry and she'll say, I miss my daddy. But on a day-to-day basis, it's not something that I can tell you, oh, my word, she's broken, she is. And I think maybe into her teen years,
She'll fully process it.
she'll probably, maybe something happens like your matric ball, and now you need your dad. But you must also remember she's got a really good support system. So I must be honest with you, I feel happy. She spent the whole first almost 2 years in therapy. At school. With a school psychologist, and it wasn't necessary all the time, but we just wanted to make sure. And the therapist eventually said she's fine. She said eventually, well, now we're speaking about other things, Caro. So she felt like she was on a good track. And so all of those things we did, we made sure that we gave her whatever she needed to adjust. And now you must also remember, I mean, she's now going to be 11. She's just now in that tween developmental stage. They're very much about finding their own identity, figuring out life, this and that and the other. So no, I'm calm and at peace with the fact that she has adjusted normally to how a child should adjust to losing their father. There's no red flags for me.
Yeah. I want to applaud you for being so open and being so warm. I think that's why even you'd have like such an amazing relationship with Sintle, Nadia. You've never been that type of mother to be like, hey, this is my son. You guys need to behave this way.
Yeah.
Even the friends,
Yeah.
like all Kenyans' friends, feel comfortable around you.
Yeah.
You have such a beautiful, warm energy
Thank
around
you.
you. I really want to
Thank
I think
you.
I
I
applaud you
appreciate
for that and being open, And I think also just to put out a message to the fans, maybe like on certain things that they want to get right or whatever, they should maybe like sometimes, now that they know that you are the person handling that,
Yeah.
first of all, have grace in the beginning.
Have grace.
Because you are learning how to obviously operate
Yeah,
within the
don't
space.
write you milking it. Or let the guy rest. No, I'm no.
This is a joke. Yes, but I think maybe they can, I feel like, express what would they like to see more.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that. And just to understand, so look, I really going forward, I mean, a part of it is really just like Kenan used to do, to get the input from
Yeah,
the
the
fans, to
fans,
get the
yeah.
input from people around
Mhm.
Kenan and all of that. I mean, I think we are now at a point where we kind of starting to move forward with more intention, you know. So that is definitely something that I would absolutely appreciate,
Mm.
you know, for people to put things out there and just to know that even if we might not respond to it, somebody's picking it up and we're taking it on board.
Yeah.
You know, I really want Kenan's fans to be part of his legacy.
Mm.
No, well, no, not I want. They are part. I mean, because as Kenan used to say, I mean, what does he say? Legacy over everything.
Facts.
Legacy over everything. There can be nothing without the legacy.
What is like maybe like one of your fondest memory of like Kenan? You think back and like, oh,
Kenan.
that's still in your head, yeah.
When he was little, or just anything?
Just general, like it can be more than one. You know, like in this
where do I start?
interview, like we going,
Yes.
we are back forth,
Fondest
we are
memories.
reminiscing.
Yes.
So we're gonna be all over the place with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So fondest memory. Let me start with I love to watch Kenan. Kenan was busy as well, and he didn't have. I mean, he wasn't. People think. Okay, people always say, "Oh, Kenan was an amazing dad," and yes, he was, but he didn't have. He didn't have that much time all the time with his daughter, obviously, but the moments are fond memories for me. I mean, Kenan. I think Kenan posted everything on social media, but I'll tell you maybe. I posted something 2 days ago about Kenan doing Caro's hair.
I saw that. Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that kind of thing for me. It's the moments with us. He was the funniest dad and the funnest dad, but he was super strict.
Cara, what do you think?
Are you not going to put it in a pony?
Oh, you're putting it in a pony? Okay,
Yeah.
let me do some.
Oh no,
She can take it
be a bad idea.
I know, Pony. Watch this.
No,
I can do a pony. Watch me do
you
it.
want
Pony.
to do red ones. But it must go up, up, up. No!
Up.
Like, let me show you.
But straight.
No, Kenan. A high pony.
I don't want a high
Okay.
pony.
But a straight one, baby.
Boom.
Get it, boom.
Welcome to Ponyland.
Do you know what is a PBA?
Isn't this thing that makes your bum bigger? Is it? No. Is it? Is it? Is it? I only for the first time properly heard about what a BBL is on Madlanga Commission.
Mm.
You know what happened on Monday? Can a person talk about the Madlanga Commission here?
You wanna talk about it?
No, I want to tell you what happened.
Okay, please tell us.
Because it's, you know, on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Was it on Monday? No, on Friday.
Mhm.
Thursday, Friday. You know, I was watching because I'm very much, I always watch the highlights and whatever. And then I was sitting watching and they had the witness there. And then they said, you know, if you are sensitive viewer, you must turn off and whatever. And I didn't think, because they said they're going to screen a murder. Maybe you mustn't put this thing on your show. I'm just telling you, take it off. Don't
No,
put
it's
it on.
fine. Just put it on.
Anyway,
Mhm.
no, because it was on
Mm.
national TV,
Mhm.
and I sat on my couch and I thought, no, because they said if you're sensitive, you must. I thought, no, I'm not sensitive. You know, I can probably deal. And then it was Kenan's murder. I was watching my child being shot on TV.
Damn.
It was, jeez, I can't. You know, I've seen that video. I told you, I never watched that video.
Mm.
And then I had a dream of Kenan telling me, Mom, you should watch the video. You know, he still said to me, it's not that bad, you know. And I watched it and it was really, really difficult to watch it. But I mean, I kind of then thought, okay, well, it actually, for me, the only thing was that, you know, did he just die instantly? I just needed to know that it was quick. And watching that video, it is that. But this video came from a different angle and it was just something I didn't expect to see watching the Madlanga Commission.
It's crazy.
And then they just played this video. But I mean, they went through this whole thing of saying we're giving people 2 minutes. because it's actually a murder. 2 minutes, and then we're gonna, so if you're very sensitive to anything, like if you're a sensitive viewer, then turn off your TV or don't look. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, no, I've seen really, movies or, whatever. Listen, I promise you, it was the last thing I expected to see. And it was just the whole shooting. Crazy.
And how did you feel seeing it?
No, I was traumatized. Look, I mean, I just didn't expect it. It was not something I expected. I have seen it before. I've never looked at it again. I've seen it once or twice and I've left it. But on that day, you're watching this thing and that is not something you expect to see. So no, I was fine afterwards, but no, I literally screamed. I was in tears. It was very traumatizing. And I was wondering, I wish they could have just said, actually, we're going to show the AK murder, because then I probably wouldn't have watched it. But
Because
yeah.
now the only thing that they said is like, if you
you're
are just sensitive, yeah.
But you know what? Yeah, it was just that I didn't expect it. That was
I can't even imagine.
And then now the thing now is, because then for me immediately it was about reaching out, finding Zinhle, them, telling them to make sure that Cairo doesn't watch a lot of TV, and she doesn't watch, she's not really allowed on phones and things, like she's not allowed on social media. She doesn't have access to that kind of stuff. But you never know, somebody could tell us, somebody could send it to us. Because now that video, I don't know if you've seen, now it's kind of, I don't think it's a lot, but it's there. It's now again on the socials, because
So-
people video their TV.
Yeah.
And then they post it. Even the news, the people are posting it.
So was the initial video like, were the steps taken to take it out of social media?
I don't know how it happened. I tried, and people, I think there must have been somebody that actually managed to do it. I don't know. I appealed, I approached, I've asked people to look at it, because the last thing I wanted was for it to find it, But now there's little clips of this screen recording, not screen. People obviously take videos with their phone. And I wish, I kind of just wish I could tell people to please take it off, because Cairo, you just don't know, you just don't know how she might see it. It's not something that I wanted to see. I'm sure one day she will have to, but
She doesn't have to.
she doesn't have to see it now, or ever if possible.
Mm.
But anyway, so that is what I wanted to tell you about it. It was, for me, having already seen it, it was terribly traumatizing. I was literally in tears, because it's just like, it's like that moment. But then later on, I was fine.
Are you hopeful that we're going to see justice as far as the case?
Tito, I think the law must take its course, obviously. Justice for me might be very different from what it means to anybody else. I don't see how there can ever be justice for me. Because, and I know this sounds like a cliche thing that people will say, but how am I ever going to get justice?
I understand where you're coming from.
Do you know what I mean?
It's not going to bring him back.
Yeah. And people will say no, but no, look, if I speak to the police and all of that and they give me feedback, I understand that they need to do what they need to do and the process must happen. But for me, it's neither, and this sounds very kind of like I don't care, I do care. And I do think whoever is responsible must be brought to justice. But what I'm saying is, when you're asking me about me, I don't believe there's ever going to be justice for me. How? Whether people get life sentences or whatever, it's like, for me,
I get you.
my son is gone. Yeah. So, but for everybody else, and because we have to have law in the country and all of that.
And I think that's important.
And I do appreciate the investigating team, and I do appreciate how they keep us posted, and I do appreciate everything they're doing. I'm not being ungrateful. I'm just saying, and they know this. There's a clip of me, because I've only ever gone to Durban once for the trial. For not the trial, but for one of the appearances. And I spoke to the to the team, and I literally said to them, I just said thank you for everything they're doing and all that. But I also said to them, they know how I feel about it. They know that I feel like, I would never really ever get justice unless somebody can bring him back.
But more than anything, I think it is important that I get where you're coming from, but I think it is important that the law
Yes.
like really brings us justice in terms of like whenever there's a crime, those people need to be prosecuted. Those people
No,
need
of
to,
course.
Yeah. Be handled the right way
Yeah.
because we don't want these situations. People feel free that they can do
Yeah.
how they want to do in this country.
Yeah. No,
No.
and I agree with that. And as I've always said, I mean, I'm not saying anything here that I haven't said before.
Mhm.
I think for me, it's very simple. It's, it's one thing arresting the people who shot him, but who actually called the killing, and that's another thing. I think in our country, that's something that happens too often.
Yeah, the crime.
The crime, the people who committed the crime, but in this organized crime or in these assassinations and stuff, are we really making progress? Because let me tell you, for me, it is, and this might sound, sometimes for me, it's somebody just did a job. And that is how I look at it. Somebody gets paid to do a job. And if that person ends up in prison, there's another person that will do the job. So until we get to the bottom of who actually calls these, these assassinations, then we're not really solving the problem. Because I tell you,
we need to get to the root of it.
You need to get to the root of the problem because there's so many people out there that will take the money and they will take little money because this is also, an ill of our society. It's like people struggle. So I'm not excusing, but I'm saying it's a way deeper than, than just arresting somebody that actually did the killing, because that person goes to jail and somebody else is there to do it. And I think, way back, I also said in my initial interviews, I always said that the problem is way bigger than AKA and Tibbs. And I mean, that's another person. I speak to Tibbs' dad as well all the time. We're in contact, and I try and also just reach out to him, and he reaches out to me. So, but I mean, the problem goes way beyond, because at the end of the day, the only reason this is so big is because it's them. That's the truth of the matter. We'll hear about AK's murder, and we hear about Costa's murder, and we hear about Warris's murder, and we hear about this morning in this country, a whole lot of people got murdered. That's the reality of our situation, and what happens to all of that.
Sad. It's a very, like, we have such a beautiful country. South Africa is a beautiful country, but just that, the violence part, the crime part, that's one thing that we really need to get a hold of.
So so hopefully with everything going on now, we'll see changes, but we'll have to wait and see.
Thank you so much for being open, being such a beautiful energy.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that we didn't address that you feel is important that people just get to hear from you? Because you don't speak very often.
Yes.
And maybe if you want to get a message out there, like that people should maybe get to understand coming from you, from your side, how can we assist you more as the people, as a legacy? How can we assist you more in navigating everything that you're doing?
Oh, yeah. I think at the moment, obviously, as I said to you, we're doing a lot of work to just get things in place. But I think for me, to be honest with you, what is important to me is that people continue. I know you're asking me about assisting, but for me, I love to see, there's this thing called AK Fridays. I promise you, if everybody could just partake in AK Fridays, that would probably be a big deal for me.
Okay.
We've got the hashtag AK Fridays. And on a Friday, I just want to see the legacy celebrating Kenan.
Okay.
And you see, for me, that's justice for my son. to see that people keep his memory alive, to see that people keep on sharing his music, to see that people listen to his music, and to see that people support. So support right now for me is in forms of probably I'm not saying forget about the merch. That's not what I'm saying. Buy the merch, but
Sorry, while we're there at the merch, let me also, like, because we're talking about the things that we should get out. I'm saying also, as Keenan friends, we spoke about this. Let's also support the merch. Let's not. We've gotten a lot of free things. We've got free sneakers.
yes.
Let's support. Let's support.
Yes.
Let's buy the
Oh,
merch.
listen, I bought the
Yeah.
merch.
See, if you bought the merch, I mean,
So this
Yeah.
maybe this is something I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, I really honestly just decided that, you know, Kenan is not here anymore. Now it's about Cairo. And as his friends, I want to appeal to people and say, get something. That's how you support Kenan. That is how you keep his memory. That's how you keep his legacy alive. Support Cairo. So the first thing that happened, I was the third person on Friday night, midnight on Thursday. The website went live at midnight. I was the third person. I don't know who are those other two people is that came before me, but the third person. And I decided I will buy the merch.
Okay.
Because that is, it's just like a thing for me. It's like why would I want to wait? Now we have to dig into, and it's not even about the money. It's the principle of saying, if I want other people to buy it, why don't I buy it?
Most definitely.
So I do. So now I can appeal to people and say, I mean, because what's the point of saying go buy the merch, but I am just not buying the merch.
I get
So,
you.
well, I didn't buy it for me. I bought it for Cairo.
You
But do
you
you know
bought
what I
the
mean?
merch, yeah.
But I bought the merch. So, because I told you I'm not going to walk in Sandton City wearing an AK t-shirt.
I will.
Because
I'll do it for you. It's fine.
you can wear it.
And
so
yeah.
that's that. I mean, it's the but I think more than anything, I want the music to be played. Play the music. Let us re-listen to Mass Country. Let us Alter Ego, for instance, is turning 15 in August, for instance. Now that so you see that's when we'll probably be doing things more
Celebrations.
celebrations, and look at milestone things like when a song or a single or album turns 5 years old and 10 years old and 15 years old. I think that's where we want to focus on in terms of the music and promoting the music and stuff, but throughout the year.
Okay.
No, and I know the Megacy does, but I mean the Megacy is big.
Yeah, but you giving us a message that, like, what you would like.
Yes.
So we would listen. Yeah.
Hashtag AK Fridays on a Friday. Post anything that is skin related, AK related. Buy the music, play the music, share the music. You know what? Share the stuff that Kenan said. They did something awesome the other day on Twitter, X now. Somebody said, AKA one said, and then I love reading those stuff. It's raining.
It's raining. I think it's a bigger message.
It's a bigger message. It's like Kenan. It's Kenan saying, "Mom, go home." You're talking too much.
I think he's with us. Just
He's
you can
always
say
with
I can,
us.
I can hear you guys. And I also want to send out big love to my boy Don Design. He also lost his mother.
Yes,
And
yeah.
condolences.
I was on the phone with him. Yes.
Yeah.
He sent me a message. So yeah, condolences to Don. I don't know where to look.
You can look
But-
anywhere. We've got cameras
Yeah.
everywhere.
No,
Yeah.
but definitely. So he let me know that his mom passed away, and I was in touch with him. But I'll phone him because I only texted him because he said, for now the family is just adjusting. So, yeah. But that happened on the weekend.
Yeah. Much love to him.
Much love to Don, and thank you so much
Thank
to you and everybody here for having me. It was a pleasure.
Okay, before we leave,
Yes.
one of our guys has a question for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Okay,
don't
wait,
get-
let me repeat it so they can hear it.
Okay.
Um
You guys like things, eh?
It's not you guys. It's not me. I've been very soft.
Okay.
I never said that.
Okay.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. I've been very soft.
No.
Okay,
Ask
so
the question.
Boki wants to know,
Yeah.
when AKA and Casper were beefing, how did you feel about that?
It's their business.
Say business.
It's hip hop business. It's industry business. It is culture business. I'm just a mom. I don't get involved. That's how I feel.
Mm. That makes sense. But I'm sure you've heard like of past beefs, like yo, hip hop. This
Yeah.
happens like Tupac and
Yeah.
Biggie. You are not worried about any of that.
No, look, I mean, there was a time for way on in the beginning. I think moms always worry, you know, so and you don't understand it. And as I said, I'm not going to claim that I understand these things. You and Kenan had beef. I wasn't worried about that. I just wanted my money. But anyway,
You see, with me, you should have been scared because I'm dangerous. You know?
yeah. No, look, I mean it was probably one of the biggest beefs in I mean, look at me talking as if I
About
know these
beefs.
things.
It was.
But
It was.
So no, like as a mom, I mean, and I'm sure Casper's mom will probably feel the same thing. Let me tell you something about how I feel about it. If Casper walks in right here now, I'm greeting him, I'm hugging him, I'm saying hi. I don't have beef with Casper.
I know that, but it's maybe important for the country to know that. Yeah.
But also on the same, like I'm not so this is how I look at it. I don't have a problem with Casper, but I'm also not interfering with Casper and Kenan's life. Kenan passed away, and that is how it was. And that is not something that I will either perpetuate or try and address.
Exactly.
It's not my business.
You're a mother.
I'm a mother. Okay. I'm not going to try and now be the fixer of the beef, the perpetuator of the beef, whatever. I think, I mean, when Kenan died, Casper, came to see us.
House, yeah.
Casper came to see us. He brought his condolences, all of that. But are you going to see me now on the socials having selfies with Casper? And now all of a sudden, Casper and I are doing a thing together? No.
It's not look
Sorry,
weird.
Casper.
Yeah.
No, but do you understand that? Do you understand that?
Yes. No,
And
I understand it.
and
I understand
and I
it.
think he
Yes.
can, and I think he will appreciate that. I mean, that's not a place for a mom to be involved
I
in.
agree.
You know?
I agree.
So
I
that's it.
agree. Like
But
100%.
all the love to Casper. I mean, so I think that's the thing. I need to know my place, as a mother.
I agree.
I think moms have places where they should be and places like they shouldn't be. Don't go to Jameli's. Don't post selfies with Casper. And it's not anything terrible because let me tell you, if I see Casper, there's no issue with me and Casper.
Yeah.
But it's not just my place to now having a collab with Casper. No, guys.
No,
It's
I
not
agree.
It's not my thing. It's not my place. So again for me it will always be about what would Kenan do in this situation?
Yes.
That is actually the thing that drives me. Hey, what would Kenan do in this situation?
I agree. That was a very good answer.
I'm good, eh?
You can be like media trained right now.
Good, eh? No, just for the record, I have no personal issues with Casper. It's not, as I say, it's not my place. I understand the assignment. That's another line I use. I understand the assignment of being Kenan's mom. I was trained.
Media. This is media training at its best. Okay, you guys done? The sharp perfect. You are no sharp. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. For pulling up on us. And you didn't say brave, you said courageous.
Courageous.
For giving me a call and say, Tito, I'm ready to talk. I want to talk.
Yeah.
Thank you for being courageous. Thank you for coming on this platform. We appreciate you. We love your energy.
Yeah.
And we need you. And you were saying you are the first
Real mom.
real mom. No, those are those fake moms. No, you you said you are the first mother of an artist to come on this podcast.
Yes.
And your son was the first person to ever come on this
On this
podcast.
podcast.
It's a family thing. You guys just
It's a thing, eh?
Hmm?
We pioneers, man.
What?
Yeah.
Let's make
But
noise.
thank you for having me. Yeah, it was amazing.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's make noise for the pioneers of the Forbes family for coming here. Let's make noise for Auntie LYNN. Let's make noise for AKA's mom
Thank you. Don't forget
for
that.
gracing us with her presence. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Lord, thank you for blessing us with your presence. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for Auntie LYNN coming here, for us having a great conversation. Thank you for making her very courageous to be able to have this difficult conversation with us. We appreciate their presence. We appreciate your presence. Please keep on blessing this podcast to have fruitful conversations, warm conversations, conversations that will enlighten the nation, give a little bit of knowledge. Can we change lives, Lord? Please keep guiding us to be able to translate a positive message to the people out there. Thank you for your blessings, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
That was
Awesome,
beautiful.
guys.
That was beautiful.
It was good, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, it was nice.